Hello everyone, welcome back to RaceRoom, where you joined me at the very back of the grid for this GT4 race at Monza. Now, it wasn't a disastrous qualifying session or anything like that. I was just a very late entrant to the server. I didn't have time to put a qualifying lap in. There were only 10 on the grid, so I thought I'd hop on and make it 11. I've got absolutely no idea how my pace compares to anyone else on track, but as the lights go green, we're about to find out, and we get a much better launch than Saba Hares in the BMW. We've absolutely sailed past him, so that's one position gained already before we even reach T1. But I certainly won't be in a hurry to make any more overtakes until we're through this chicane. We know how lethal it can be at the best of times. We're probably in the safest place at the back of the grid. We're going to take a wide exit and get around Saba Dorsak, so we might pick up another position here. We have. So a really encouraging start to this race. Everyone through turn 1 cleanly, and we've picked up 2 positions from 11th to 9th. And we've already opened up a bit of a gap over Dorsak in 10th as well, 0.6 of a second, so that tight line he took through the first chicane clearly cost him a lot of exit speed. Meanwhile, we're closing right in on Jacob Roswell in the Lotus. In fact, we're alongside through this second chicane, probably going too wide through there. Wasn't a good idea. I had to back out of that one in a panic. And that has brought Dorsak behind back into play as well. I'm going to have to take a defensive line into Lesbo 1. I couldn't get back out onto the racing line. Someone else is out onto the gravel in front though, kicking up a big cloud of dust. Look at Roswell in front. He's defensive into Lesbo 2. That's going to compromise his exit, and it's going to give me the perfect opportunity to charge past and take that 8th position. It looks like we're going to get 7th as well, because we've got more pace than Lucas Mragowski. It was Mragowski in the Audi who was kicking up all that dust through Lesmo, so he was down on speed too, so we're up to 7th position. And there's another sandstorm in Ascari. Someone's run wide. We almost joined them there. We were hot coming into that section. It's going to compromise our exit too, but we were a lot quicker than the cars behind. We've already opened up a 1 second advantage over the driver in 8th. And yeah, the reason we've got such a big advantage already is because Saba Dorsak completely lost it going into Ascari, loses the rear and slides into the barrier. So yeah, a really encouraging start to this race. We've climbed from 11th to 7th during that first lap. We're rejoining the live action now, halfway through lap 2. Lucas Mragowski is more than 1.5 seconds behind now in 8th. We're about a second behind this pack of cars in front, but it looks like Armand Gobo has had some trouble. He was really slow out of Lesmo 2. We're certainly closing right in on Gobo now. The big question is, will we get alongside him before we arrive at Ascari? It doesn't look like we're going to, so we're going to have to hold back. And as I say that, the rear steps out. I can't save it, and we've careered head first into the barrier. Oh, this is impossible to rejoin safely as well. I can't reverse onto the track until the rest of the pack has gone by. So we're now in dead last for the second time. We started this race in last. We worked our way up to 7th. Now we've got to do it all over again. Well, if you were wondering why Armand Gobo was so slow out of Lesmo 2, it's because he took this nudge from the Audi behind. Gobo was in 3rd position at the time. He just managed to save it. Look how hard he worked to keep that on track. Even a secondary nudge almost put him into the gravel. So he was down on speed. I smelled blood, but I pushed just a little bit too hard. There's the rear stepping out, and I slide into the barrier, and unfortunately all the cars behind me get back past. Well, what can we do from here to rescue this race? We gained 4 positions on the first lap, but it's going to be so much more difficult to do it again. Look at the gap to Saba Hares in 10th. It's 4.4 seconds. They are well down the road, so we're going to be relying on mistakes to close back in with these guys in front. There's a cloud of dust. Has someone come to grief? The yellow flags are out at Ascari. It looks like Saba Dorsak who's crashed out. There he is on the left, so there's 1 place back. Yeah, we've already seen Dorsak crash once into Ascari. This time it was on exit. He's trying to get on the gas to get as fast a drive out as possible. The rear steps out and he spins into the barrier. During that replay of Dorsak's crash, you might have also noticed Saba Hares running out onto the gravel as well. That's the reason we're so close to him already. That gap that was 4.5 seconds a lap ago is now less than 1 second. So as we close right in onto the rear end of this BMW through this second chicane at Monza, we've got a real chance of getting 9th position now. One thing to bear in mind though, when we had that shunt at the end of lap 2 at Ascari, we did pick up both aerodynamic and suspension damage. It's only light damage and the car feels like it's still handling okay, but we will have to bear that in mind once we start pushing harder and harder to get past these cars in front. We've closed right in on hers now, just 0.4 of a second the gap to that BMW. I'm not going to try anything too aggressive into Ascari. We've learnt our lesson after that second lap spin, so I'm just going to hang back, make sure I don't carry too much speed into this chicane. Oh, even taking it cautiously though, we get dangerously close to the rear of hers BMW. The yellow flags are out. Meanwhile, we've lost another driver, and it's Jonas Reisinger. He was in second position, so Reisinger has come to grief, exiting Ascari. That has promoted us up to 9th position, but it may get better because we're poised to pounce up the inside of Sabahers into the final turn. We've got to be spot on with our braking here. We don't want to slide out into the path of that BMW, but we've done it. We've taken the position. So we're up to 8. Sabahers down to 9th. But it may not be a done deal because hers is carrying a little bit more speed down this start and finish straight. My line was compromised as I hugged that inside curb, and I wasn't able to burst out of that corner as quickly as I would have liked. So it's a battle of the late breakers now. Can we hold our nerve into this first chicane? Yes, we can. We get there in front. Oh, we get very untidy exit in the chicane, clipping that curb on the inside. But did you see the alert pop up? Armin Gobo has been given a drive-through penalty. Gobo's currently in 4th, but he's only 13 seconds ahead. So when he goes into pit lane, that is going to give us another position. We're currently 8th, but we're going to get 7th. Well, at the end of the previous lap, we saw the second place driver, Jonas Reisinger, in the barrier, and it's because of this accident, very similar to the crash we saw a few laps earlier, just clipping that curb on the inside as he tries to get on the gas, exiting Ascari, and it ends in tears. Watching it get on board, you really don't want to clip those curbs when you're on the gas because it'll bite you big time. No sooner had we gained that position from Rising, and we were able to pick up another one, tucking it up the inside of Sabahers into that final turn. An easy pass in the end, that one. We're rejoining the live action at 2/3 race distance, and we're making really good progress now. Look how quickly we're closing in on Jacob Roswell in the Lotus. And it's crazy to think that just 5 minutes ago we were in dead last and nearly 5 seconds behind any other car on track. Now we're in 8th and we're looking really strong to make a push for 7th here. And it was exiting Lesmo too that we got around Roswell earlier in the race. Can we do exactly the same again? It looks like we might be able to, because once again Roswell was deep into there. We're going to get a much faster exit. We're side by side as we begin the charge to Ascari. I'm hoping I'll have the job done before we get to the chicane. I don't want to be too late on the brakes and push my luck again. We've done it. We're up to 7th position. We've still got 5 minutes of this race left. Still a third of the race to go. Can we improve any more? It might be tough because the next driver ahead is more than 6 seconds clear. Well, we forgot about Armin Gobo, didn't we? We saw him get a drive-through penalty a few laps ago. He stayed out on track as long as possible. He was still in front of us when we made that pass on the Lotus. However, now he's coming in, so that will put us up to 6th. Rejoining the live action with just over 3 minutes left of this race. Gobo's drive-through has promoted us up to 6th position. However, we're still 4 seconds behind the driver in 5th, Lucas Brokowski. And look at that, the yellow flags are out as we approach Ascari. What has gone on here? There's a car in the sand, and that looks like Angel Pasquera, who was in 4th position. So that's promoted us up a spot. We're now into the top 5. Well, I never thought that a top 5 finish would be possible when I planted it into the barrier at Ascari after 5 minutes, but that's where we are now thanks to this crash from Pasquera. He made exactly the same mistake that I did. Well, surely it can't get even better still, can it? We're just 1.3 seconds behind Lucas Bobrowski now, but we're going to get another lap. Now, we know that we're quicker than the Audi from earlier in the race, but also from the previous lap. We've taken more than a second out of Bobrowski's advantage over that last lap. So with one more lap to go, I think we can catch him here. Whether we can get past him, that's another question entirely. But with one lap to go here at Monza, we are going to be fighting for a 4th place finish. Incredible, considering we were 4 seconds adrift at the back of the field after 1/3 of this race. So, okay, we're about to cross the start-finish line. We'll see the white flag, and that will mean that there is only 1 lap to go. We're going to try and get a bit of a tow from Bobrowski here and close in as we reach turn 1. We're going to close right in fact. We're hard on the brakes. We almost run into the back of that Audi. We just about got away with that. I expect Bobrowski had kittens there when he saw me in the rearview mirror. Thankfully, there was no contact, but that was really close. Perhaps a little too close for comfort. But what's the gap now? It's 0.4 of a second, so we're definitely in contention here. But let's not rush into anything too rash. We know we're stronger at the end of this lap. We've made most of our overtakes on the run to Ascari. I think that'll be our best opportunity to get past Mogrowski and take that 4th position. So we're approaching the 2 Lesmo turns now. This will be where we need to tee the pass up. We need to get right on the tail of that Audi and be ready to pounce out of Lesmo 2. But I don't think we're close enough. We're relying on Mogrowski running wide out of this turn. But he hasn't run wide. He's taken it perfectly. So I don't think we're going to have the pace to challenge before Ascari. So we're going to have to come up with a plan B here. We certainly don't want to make a lunge into Ascari. That rarely ends well. Instead, we're going to have to concentrate on getting as fast an exit as possible and trying to win a drag race down to the Parabolica. We're getting as close as we can, so now it's all about a wider entry and a tighter exit. Can we get on the gas quicker than Mogrowski can? It looks like we have done. However, Mogrowski will take the defensive line, so we've got no choice but to go wide. We're going to have to take the long route and rely on the extra power and momentum that we picked up out of Ascari. We might have done it. I think we're far enough ahead to be able to dive back onto the racing line into the Parabolica and seal 4th position. We have done it. Look in the rearview mirror, the yellow flags around. It looks like we've lost Sabadorsak. He spun out of 6th position. I think he was trying to follow me around the outside, but just carried too much momentum. But wow, what a race. We're going to bring it home in 4th position. I didn't imagine for 1 second we were going to be able to do that when we crashed out of the race after 5 minutes. Well, we only had 1 opportunity left to make this pass, and it all depended on getting the perfect exit from Ascari. We got it. We got on the gas early. We were able to get around the outside of Mogrowski and seal that 4th position. Watch Sabadorsak behind. He tries to do the same, but he carried too much speed and span out. Well, there we go. Hands up. Who thought I'd finish 4th with 10 minutes of this race still to go? I know I didn't, but we'll certainly take it. A cracking rescue mission there. Okay, let's check out the classified results then. There we are in 4th position with the fastest lap in the race of 2:00.6. That's actually pretty competitive. I mean, it's nowhere near the standard of the race winner, Bailus. He checked out almost immediately on lap 1. Nobody could keep up with him. He was the runaway victor, but we certainly had the pace to challenge for 2nd had we not made that mistake in the early going. And of course, starting from the back of the grid didn't help either, but we couldn't do anything about that. We were a late entry into this race, so we were always going to be up against it. But nevertheless, I hope you've enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed racing in it. It was a really fun one, this. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and I'll look forward to seeing you again on the grid very soon. Cheers for now.